You ever say something small, and she comes back with a comment that feels like a little jab, testing you almost, and you're not sure if you should laugh it off, defend yourself, or just stay quiet? That moment happens constantly, and how you handle it says more about your value than almost anything else in the interaction. Today, why these little tests happen, and how to actually pass them without overreacting or caving. Let's get into it. First, understand what's actually happening. These small comments aren't attacks. They're calibration checks. She's not trying to hurt you. She's trying to see how solid you actually are underneath the surface. Do you get defensive over nothing? Do you fold the second there's a little friction? Do you take yourself so seriously that you can't handle a light jab? This isn't manipulation. It's just how people naturally probe for security in someone they're getting to know. Second, the worst response is defensiveness. If she teases you and you immediately get serious, explain yourself, or get visibly annoyed, that tells her the test found something real, an insecurity underneath, that reacted the second it got poked. Defensiveness confirms exactly what the test was checking for. The goal isn't to never feel a reaction, it's to not let that reaction leak out as visible defensiveness. Third, the second worst response is caving completely, agreeing with a jab just to avoid conflict, laughing too hard at something that wasn't actually that funny, immediately backing down from whatever you said. All of that reads as someone who can't hold their own ground. It's the opposite extreme of defensiveness, but it fails the same test for a different reason. It shows there's nothing solid enough underneath to hold a light challenge. Fourth, the actual right response is playful confidence. Take the jab. Don't get defensive. Don't cave. Just play with it. If she says something like, "You're kind of full of yourself," a defensive guy explains why he isn't. A guy who caves apologizes. A guy who passes just smiles and says something like, "Yeah, I've heard that a few times," completely unbothered, maybe even amused by it. That response signals you're secure enough to not need to correct the record. Fifth, understand that these tests usually escalate slightly if you fail them, and usually stop or shift into genuine warmth if you pass them. If you get defensive, she might push a little harder to see how far the crack goes. If you handle it with calm humor, the testing phase typically eases up because you've already demonstrated the thing it was checking for. This is why the first few tests in an interaction matter more than the ones later on. They set the tone for everything after. Sixth, don't confuse testing with genuine hostility. Occasionally, a comment isn't a test at all. It's actually rude or crosses a real line, and that's different. The distinction is usually in the delivery. Playful teasing has a lightness to it. Real hostility has an edge that doesn't feel fun for either person. If something genuinely crosses a line, that's not a moment for playful deflection. That's a moment for a calm, direct boundary. Confusing the two, treating real disrespect like a game to be played along with, is its own mistake. Seventh, practice not taking small comments personally in general, not just from her. The skill of staying light under a little social pressure gets built the same way any skill does, through repetition, in low-stakes settings, with friends, co-workers, strangers. If your default reaction to any tease from anyone is a slight internal flinch, that's the pattern that needs addressing, not just the specific dynamic with one person. Eighth, remember that passing these tests isn't about winning some contest. It's a side effect of actually being secure, not a performance you're putting on to pass a checklist. If you're chasing the right response as a tactic, without the underlying security, it usually comes across as slightly try-hard anyway. The actual goal is building real ease with yourself, and the ability to handle a light jab gracefully naturally follows from that, rather than the other way around. So here's the full picture. These moments are calibration, not attacks, so don't take them as one. Avoid the two failure modes, defensiveness and caving, and aim for playful, unbothered confidence instead. Understand that passing early tests usually eases the testing that follows. Learn to tell the difference between a genuine tease and actual disrespect, and handle each one differently. Build this as a general skill in low-stakes moments, not just in the moments that matter most. And remember, the whole thing is a byproduct of real security, not a script to perform. Get that right, and these moments stop feeling like tests at all. They just feel like normal conversation. Peace.